Talking Guys, episode 11. We have our guest today, Emily. It's good to have you on. Thank you for coming.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me.
Welcome,
Hello.
welcome, welcome.
Yeah, so I was going to just do a quick update with the ending of, or actually the aftermath of last week's episode. Probably to the dismay of Patrick. I did not have a hangover. I know it's probably disappointing here.
You should have
Uh,
had a hangover.
Nope.
Actually,
We
yeah.
finished the episode. I drank a Gatorade, took like a 3-hour nap, woke up, made a sandwich, and watched some Hulu. So that was the rest of my evening.
Also, a little, behind the scenes for you guys. He kind of passed out in his chair
Oh my
while we were talking
Like-
afterwards.
3 times.
Yeah.
So no hangover, but amusing.
Yeah.
And like completely coherent conversations, although circular in nature, and then just randomly just gone. You're like, hello? But we weren't next to each other, so she couldn't wake him up.
Yeah, that's what happens. I think it was 3 Dos Equis, and if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. I counted 10 shots. So
gosh.
I can't count that high.
Is
so I
that
didn't
the
even
official
try.
count? I thought we had a little challenge going on with if anybody could name that or not.
we did. I don't know if we actually got an actual answer that was accurate. I think we had guesses.
Okay. I saw somebody guess 14 shots, and I was like, did he really take 14 shots? To be honest, I was not, detail oriented enough to
Yeah.
catch that.
No. But I did finish the bottle of Crown Apple. It was delicious. So definitely would do again.
10 for 10 would do again.
Next time, Everclear.
Yeah.
Oh.
But
Oh.
I don't know.
That kind of
about
like
that one.
burns
I'm
right
good.
there.
That's a level of drunk that I don't think I ever want to be at.
Maybe if he did Everclear, he would get a hangover.
I remember when one of my friends
I don't know. He would probably get a saline drip in the hospital, so I don't think he'd get a hangover.
went and drank fruit punch. Trash can punch. I did not realize what trash can punch was made out of. It was an experience. Threw
That
up all the
was-
way on the
That's
side
one of the
Seth's
more
car.
fun nights of my life until he threw up on my car.
Yeah, we had a
Oh.
good time. It was like a real good time, but this dude got belligerent drunk. And he's like a nice guy too. That's what was even funnier about it. It was like this was totally out of character for him. He was like literally talking to this girl that's like 4 foot, and like it was just like, what are you doing, dude?
Well,
We had to like break him up and be like, okay, let's just stop fighting over whatever stupid thing you're fighting about. And it was all because of trash can punch, because he didn't want to drink beer because beer tasted nasty. So he's like, I found the punch and I've just been sipping on it all night. And I was like, dude, you know what's in that?
Sugar.
Oh,
Sugar and alcohol.
yeah,
Like,
he was like, it didn't even
Lots of
taste like there was alcohol in there. I didn't know.
lots of alcohol. We
Good
made trash
times.
can punch the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so potent and so
Oh.
sweet that they didn't even realize how deadly it truly was until it was too late.
hmm
Yeah. So actually, that night I had finished watching the 2nd season of Fargo, because I know we briefly talked about it last week. And I guess that could be one of the first topics. The entire time watching it, you were on your seat, and the intensity.
That's usual. Most people sit down while they're watching things.
Yeah.
No,
But,
it-
okay,
it-
continue. Go on.
it is gripping, right? Because the suspense has you so focused, and you want to find out what happens next. You binge it, and I didn't watch it the 2nd season all in one day. That's not something I've done. But I guess question to you guys: have you ever watched a show where you have watched the entire season in a day?
Yes.
What you
Yes.
got, Emily?
2 weekends ago, I binge watched Dead to Me on Netflix. They have 2 seasons, so on Friday night, I watched all of season 1, and then on Saturday, I watched all of season 2.
No, you did not.
I did, I swear. It was so good. I don't know if y'all seen it before, but it's hilarious.
What's it called again?
Dead to Me. It's on
Dead
Netflix.
to Me.
I think it's a Netflix original, maybe not, but it's so good. It has the lady that played Velma from the original like Scooby-Doo's. She's in it.
Oh, okay.
And it's like murder mystery comedy. The main character drinks like 4 to 5 bottles of wine like in a week. It's like so good.
That's about average, right?
I know, right? Yeah.
Okay. I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
I'm not
It's
an
about
alcoholic.
average.
I swear to God, I'm not an alcoholic. I only drink 4 bottles instead of 5.
5. Yeah.
So,
That 5th bottle's just too much.
Yeah, that's where I cross the line between just having a casual drink of a bottle a day
Hmm.
or a half a bottle a day to like, really like stepping over that line and drinking a whole bottle
Yeah.
every
But
other day.
if y'all haven't seen it, I definitely recommend it. It's such a good show. Such a good show. So.
Absolutely.
And of course you had to up the ante and be like, not just one
One
season,
season. I
2
did 2
seasons.
seasons in 2
Wow.
days.
Not
While
that you can top
Appreciate it.
that. Not that you can top that, Pat. But you said that you had recently binged something.
Yeah, actually, I watched all 28 seasons of Grey's Anatomy in one sitting. So yeah, beat that.
No, you got me so excited. You just saw my face. I was like,
Sorry.
yes, Grace.
I've actually watched maybe 2 episodes ever of Grey's Anatomy because I have a friend that has a wife that loved that show
I have a friend
and
that has
watched
a
it.
wife.
So I would
Same.
go over there and like spend the weekend there or whatever, and I would see some shows that I would never watch personally, and that was one of them. Although I have heard it's good, I just never
Yeah.
watched it. I honestly, I'm trying to think of what the shows were because I've actually done it multiple times. I don't think I've ever watched more than a season though in one sitting. Um, God, I just can't remember what the shows are called. One of them was actually recently, but the thing was, I don't really count it because it was only 8 episodes and they were 30 minutes long. So it only took me like 4 hours to do that. So it wasn't like truly binge watching. I know the first season of Ozark, I watched pretty much the whole thing. I think maybe 1 episode or 2 episodes I had to stop. I watched like 6, 7 episodes in a row. And I know with Game of Thrones, the first time I saw Game of Thrones, I was a security guard and I sat in an office all day. So I would buy because they had firewalls, so you couldn't actually get on the internet. So instead, I would buy them from Hastings back in the day when Hastings was still a business, and I don't know. I think they're out of business now, completely bankrupt and closed their doors. Sad day. But they had this rental program where you could rent their DVDs from like shows for like it's like $3 for a season or whatever. So I would rent like multiple seasons, and then over my 40-hour work week, I would literally just blow through. But on some occasions, when it was so good, I would go home after work, after watching like 6 episodes at work, like no joke, because you sat in a chair and watched the security camera all day, and then you had to go and patrol twice a shift. So it was like you had almost 6.5 hours of your shift to just sit there and do nothing.
Nice.
Yeah, it was it would have been. I did schoolwork too because I was doing community college at the time. But between it was just schoolwork or that, so I would get all my homework done at work. It was really nice. I probably should have used it to just graduate college. It would have done wonders. But Game of Thrones, I watched the entire, I think like first 2 seasons in like no joke, maybe it was like 2 days, and then that was all the seasons there were at Hastings. So it was quite disappointing when I hit the end of it. And I'm pretty sure there's more than that. Like The Haunting of Hill House, I wanted to binge watch it. That's how obsessed I was with finishing to find out what happened in the end. But I just didn't have enough time in the day that I started watching it to finish the whole thing. I had to go to sleep to go to work the next day. So I watched 6 episodes that night, and then I watched the next like whatever, however many left there was the next day. So those are mine. And I'm sure there's more. I just can't think of them right now.
Seth,
Have
you
y'all ever done that? You're so quiet.
I'm honestly trying to block out my noise gate because someone down the street is just revving their motorcycle. I'm trying to keep it off the video.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's people in Harleys. They're like Mustang owners. You just like
My boys.
obnoxious.
They're real people that actually care about motorcycles.
They're obnoxious.
Well, I guess I'll go ahead and go. I haven't actually ever binged an entire season in a day.
What?
No, I
Really?
haven't. Well, to Patrick's point, he had mentioned with them only having the first two seasons, you finish it that quickly, you're left wanting more, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if you space it, I typically do it in like a week. So if you space it out over time, you can
But
continue.
no,
But what?
continue. Continue. I don't want to interrupt you. That's rude. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Did the middle of my sentence interrupt the beginning of yours?
Yeah, kind of. But hey, thank you for apologizing for it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's your turn.
That's my bad. No, but I honestly I feel like dragging it over a period of time. Um, to me at least, I prefer that versus just watching it all in one sitting.
I can understand that, but you've never watched a show that you were so like just straight up obsessed with it
I'll say
that you
this.
were like, I have to find out what happens, and I will not go to bed until I do.
Yeah, no, I so sort of with the second season of Fargo, like I mentioned earlier, uh it did that. It did that. It my sleep schedule already is not normal as it is.
Right.
And this past week watching, because I finished it and started the third season, I'd be up till like 6 a.m. watching. Yeah,
Okay.
because it was so good. It was so good. And like I said, with the suspense that the second season had, uh, it captivated you and wanted you to watch the next episode.
And this is on Netflix, right?
Yeah, no, it's on Hulu.
Oh damn, because I might have to check this out if you're saying that.
Yeah,
I
it's on.
canceled
It's on.
Hulu.
Yeah, it's on Hulu. And it aired on FX. So there's currently 3 seasons. Quick breakdown for those not aware. The show's an
Seth, you have
anthology.
Hulu, right?
No, I canceled it.
Oh my
The show is an anthology series. And for what that means, for those that don't know what that means, that's English. An anthology series is basically where each season is a self-contained season with different characters, different settings, different time periods, and the first season takes place in 2006. Second season takes place in 1979, and the third season takes place in 2010.
So
They all
completely different characters and everything for every season?
Like
Well,
The Killing.
the second season has characters that are older in the first season, and obviously they're younger because it takes place in 1979.
Before.
Yeah.
Wow,
So
now that you mention that, I don't know if I watched it in total one setting, but it was so gripping that like I literally would go to bed thinking about it. And that was the first season of True Detective when it first came out. I I didn't know about it until the whole season had come out. So when I started watching it, like no joke, that show had me. I I was like, I have to know what happens, and I slept less hours before work. I slept like 4 hours, like multiple, like 2 days in a row, I think. So I don't think I just remember like sleep depriving myself because I was so like, I have to find out what happens. Like, and it was like, I think, isn't it 12 episodes or something like that? Maybe it's less than that.
13. It's either 10 or 13, I think.
Yeah. So like, I tried to watch it and I literally would have watched it in one sitting, but 13 hours when you're working is pretty hard if you're not going to sleep. So.
Yeah.
So I wasn't able to binge watch that whole show.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have to check Fargo out then.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, like I said, with the suspense, the thrilling aspect of it, because you're not entirely sure what's going to happen next. They've got that in movies as well. Is there a movie that you guys had seen maybe recently, or one of your favorite movies that has that aspect to it?
Guess we're gonna skip my answer to the last question. Anyways,
We'll come back to it.
But you've been so quiet that we just let you do
this dude, we're gonna go with dude, is still revving his stupid motorcycle. How do you just sit there for 5 minutes now, just being like, I'm cool?
All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and have you write down a list of the topics that we're going over, and you're just gonna
No,
keep
I
track
know.
of all those.
I mean, if people hear a motorcycle,
We're
I
gonna
don't
continue. we're gonna continue talking, and then towards the end of the episode, most
I could
Netflix
just
leaves.
leave if you just don't want me here. It's whatever.
And then no, I like this idea that he's proposing. And
Yeah,
then
and at the end, you just go over, you list your answers for every topic that we've got.
and we'll give you a 5-minute period of time. So you have to talk as fast as possible and give your answers as quick as possible. Just bullet point. And if you complete it in 5 minutes, I'll buy you your next steak dinner.
Manchester.
We
Okay,
both know I could easily do that.
we're done.
We
Okay,
both know I
just-
could easily do that.
I know. That's why we're not doing it. We're not doing
Before
it.
we get to, I guess, the thrilling movies, Seth, do you have an answer for that first question?
Are we sure I'm allowed to have an opinion?
Yeah.
Did
I
we talk
guess.
it over as a group?
Emily, are you okay with this? It cut out. What did you say? I think she said she did have a problem with.
Oh no,
There's a problem. Okay.
no, there's no problem. I'll allow it. It's fine. You can talk.
Okay.
Oh,
No,
wow,
Seth,
cool.
go ahead,
Okay,
go ahead,
thanks,
Seth, and start
thanks.
Go ahead,
writing
Seth.
your list.
So
Start writing your list down.
things that I have. So the two on the top of my head that I can think of, which I know I've done it to others that have just been good shows. A series of unfortunate events. I absolutely love that show, and Will, because of that face, I have a lot less respect for you. I'm sorry, it's just gone.
Wait, we are talking about the Jim, not the Jim Carrey one, right? The one on Netflix.
The one on Netflix.
Yeah.
Okay, so the show.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful show. Anyways, and then Black Mirror. I just
Okay.
binged every single episode. And
How?
That thing is awesome. What do you mean?
It's
how?
amazing.
No,
It's so
no,
trippy.
that is not a show that you binge because
you binge
is,
it because each
no.
episode you're like, what's their next idea? And then you get so entranced in that, and then the next one's like, oh, I need to know what they think of next.
No,
Yeah.
no, that's a show. Have you ever seen it, Emily?
I have seen a couple episodes. They were interesting to say the least.
Yeah, it's like a show you watch, and then when you finish an episode, you sit back and you contemplate your life decisions. And you're just,
I don't have life decisions, so I don't have to think about
yeah.
them.
No, it is too depressing of a show to binge.
Yeah. I
I think I binged it. So
I binged the
Really?
hell out
Okay.
of it. I mean, it was like back to back to back to back, and then immediately went and went down the street and talked to my friend Emily about it because she was telling me to watch them. It was great.
and it was actually funny because I watched that whole series, right? Never told Seth about it, and then Emily tells it from this place we would frequent to drink alcohol. She told him about it, and then he comes back and he's like, dude, have you seen this show? And I'm like, yeah, it's awesome. Like, how have I never talked to you about it? I don't know, it just never came up in our
You
conversation.
just find out who your true friends are. The bartender's down the street, not your roommate.
I remember seeing the episode that has to do with the mind recording. That one was like just crazy. Like, I don't know why it hit so hard, but it just like it is definitely disturbing. I will say that it is definitely mind disturbing, and it can like really like make you think about where things are going in the world and stuff, and be like, are these actually like possibilities that could happen someday? And yeah, just that show is great. Like that, it's just so different, man. Like you just don't see a lot.
Yeah,
of shows
and I mean, as we've discussed in previous things, I like the different, like the same old bullshit with different character names. Just no fun. Hence why I don't watch doctor shows.
Yeah.
I think with the Black Mirror though, like the first episode I watched was the one with Miley Cyrus on it.
That was a good one.
Because that's like I guess that's what drew me into it, and I was kind of like, oh, what else is there? So I started watching some of the other ones, and I was like, this is interesting, but I don't think I could binge watch it. Like I had to take a couple breaks to where I was like, okay, like we're good.
I need to know their next idea, the next thing, because I'm thinking throughout the whole thing. I don't like finish it and then have to like process it. I'm going the whole time, so I'm like, what's the next thing?
Yeah, I think their best episode. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was the first episode of season 3, where it was the like the Star Trek spoof.
I think I saw that one.
Yeah,
I saw that one.
And it actually doesn't end on a depressing note. There's a couple of episodes in the series that that actually end on a positive, lighthearted note that make you feel good about life. For the most part, most of the episodes are they make you think, they contemplate, really just Why?
I feel like it almost creates like a division between what like your perception of reality and then like the possible reality, and it like puts a wedge between that. And yeah, I could definitely see how if you watch too much of it at a time, it definitely puts me in a it definitely put me, because I've done it, it definitely put me in a weird
Like
funky mood
like a
afterwards. Yeah.
headspace.
Yeah, like it's just so much to process, and then you're just like, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it past that. Yeah. Very like kind of disturbed, but not like, like I'm gonna like go crazy or anything, but it's just like I don't know what I think about life anymore for a little bit. And then I come back to reality and I'm like, okay, I'm fine. But
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
I know we got some more topics we're gonna get to with Emily. Real quick, earlier with the suspense we were getting to the movies. Have you guys had a movie recently where that's kind of kept you on the edge of your seat?
Hmm.
No.
Oh, last weekend, we watched The Good Liar. It has I don't know who all it has in it, but it was a really good movie. Watched it with my parents, and they um enjoyed it. I didn't see where the ending was going. A lot of times I like to try to figure out where movies are going, but I didn't see this one until like the very end, and then I was like, everything kind of tied itself together. So if y'all haven't seen that movie, that's another good recommendation. I think we bought it off of Amazon.
I
Yeah,
might
it's
have to
got
look that up
Sir Ian
because
McKellen
Yeah, Ian
and
McKellen.
is it Helen Mirren?
Helen Mirren.
Yeah, those are the two main actors.
I might
So
have to watch it because that's the reason why I don't watch many movies because they are
too easy,
predictable.
predictable.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
they follow the exact same line.
yeah.
It's just yeah.
This one was kind of like I think like from watching previews you could kind of see where it was gonna go, but at the very end it tied everything together, and you're just like, oh, I didn't see that coming. So it was I'd probably rate it like a 7 or 8 out of 10. So
I like that. That's a realistic rating. Too many
yeah,
people are like, it was a 10 for 10. And then you go in there and you're like, that was not a 10 for 10, okay? Okay
well,
They've
movie,
yet
but
to make a 10 for 10 movie, I think.
what?
I haven't seen a
Okay.
10 for 10 movie.
Um
I don't think I can think of off the top of my head.
Titanic, dude.
I haven't even watched it.
no. I
Hey,
did
I'll save you the
watch.
trouble. The ship sinks at the end.
Spoiler alert.
And only one person can fit on a driftwood.
Hey,
Yeah.
Patrick, you have a movie that was like that for you?
That's like thrilling, you said
Well, no, I
more?
mean it's more, yeah, but also, it keeps you kind of on the edge of your seat and your heart's pounding the entire time you're watching because you don't know what's happening next.
Oh, the first one off the top of my head, which I know that some people didn't like it, but I love that movie so much, and that was Shutter Island. When I saw Shutter Island, I watched it by myself with nobody else, all alone, and it was actually again when I was a security guard, and I watched that show, and that thing I was not expecting it to be what it was. And when it ended and everything, and you find, yeah, the whole ending and everything was not what I saw coming. And then when I went back and watched it again, I saw a lot of things that made so much sense that I
That you
just
missed
like
the first time.
never even saw. Yeah, the first time through, or even I would say Inception had me gripped the first time I saw it too.
That was a good movie.
Um, yeah, it
Yeah.
was. I just thought it was. I'm sure there's more than that, but those are the two I can think of off the top of my head. I feel like we've all seen so many shows and TV, like TV shows, movies, that it's like, when you get old enough, there's just too many to like sift through without like having time to just like truly think about it for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, I got Ad Astra. Came out last year with Brad Pitt.
I don't think I've ever saw that one.
I haven't even heard of it.
Yeah, I don't know, the 40 or so minutes and kind of in the middle, there's this really long and drawn out scene, and man, I had anxiety watching it in the theaters. Just because you don't know, what's coming next, what's happening next, and it's just it keeps you guessing. And a lot of the movie there's no sound because it takes place in space. And I really thought that was a nice element to the suspenseful nature of the film because it added to the overall mystery of it. And yeah, that's why I was like, I'm getting anxiety. I can feel my heart pounding in my chest, and I'm literally at the edge of my theater seat with just so focused. My heart is just. I'll tell you what, I had to take some heartburn medicine after watching that. Great movie. If you haven't seen it, definitely recommend checking it out. Just know going in that it's a ride.
It's called Ad Astra.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Wow.
think it's got is it
Put that on the list too.
yeah, it's got Harrison Ford. It has Tommy Lee Jones and Brad Pitt, so it's definitely recommended. So, hey,
I love
next
Tommy
topic.
Lee Jones.
We'll go ahead and get
Okay.
into the big one here. Emily, from what I've been told, you were on Instagram. How's that going?
Good. I would say checked it earlier so I can make sure I had an accurate number, but I'm sitting at about 10.3 thousand followers on Instagram. So that's pretty cool. It's kind of nice once you hit the after 10 mark, you get the K. So that's like I guess my biggest goal that I had. And when I hit that last year, I was like, but it's fun. There's a lot of I would say good parts about it and a lot of bad parts about it. And just kind of figuring out like algorithms and hashtags. There's a lot of stuff that goes into planned posting, I guess would be a good way to say it. So
What got you into it?
so I would have to say 6, 7 years ago, I got a text from one of my friends saying, "Hey, there's this really cool photo editing site called Instagram. You edit your photos and then you'll post them on Facebook." And like it had like I'd say really bad filters, like really like sepia. I don't know how you say that. Filters on it and stuff like that. And so I made an account, put my name in there, and that's kind of how I got into it to use it as a photo editing tool for Facebook. Once other people started getting on Instagram and seeing like what the possibilities you could do with it were, that's kind of when it started taking off. I'd say probably three years ago for me.
Yeah, because I think at first, right, it wasn't used to like uh, I guess make any revenue or income as far as I remember from its base. It was just like a social media site at first, sort of
Yeah.
like Facebook.
Yeah, sort
Same.
of like Facebook. It
Yeah.
was very much like the thing that you would do is that you'd edit your photo with whatever filter you wanted on it, and then you'd save that photo. You could either post it on Instagram or you could just save it and then post it on Facebook. So that was I think the original use of it. And then I think once Facebook got their hands and bought out Instagram, that's when things started changing about how you post or even the promotional posts, the ads, all of that stuff.
Yeah, because there used to be a time when you could just scroll through Instagram and just never even see an ad.
And even they used to do, you used to be able to go back and they were posted by date. So let's say if I remember one time I went to camp and I came back a week later, and on that Friday, once I got my phone back, I was literally scrolling through to see all the week's worth of photos that I missed. Now it's at random. So I guess depending on what you're looking at or stuff that you're liking at, photos will pop up of who you follow. So I could get on Instagram right now and see a photo that was posted 4 hours ago, and then I could scroll underneath it and a photo will be posted 30 minutes ago. So they changed the algorithm on that aspect too, probably 2 to 3 years ago, or 2 years ago, I think. So
Why use Instagram over Facebook if the majority and I guess the purpose of using Instagram is for posting photos, right? Facebook offers that. So what caused Instagram to become as popular as it is when Facebook basically does the same thing?
that's a good question. I would say with like Facebook, at least for me, I use it more personal. So with Facebook, I have grandparents on there, family, friends. So I'll post like with Facebook, you can post statuses or pictures or tag location as to where you're at. With Instagram, I use it for photos, mostly with car stuff, but I would, most people use it for posting outfits, and then they'll link stuff called like to know it, which is an app on there that you can post your clothes, your shoes, your hair accessories, whatever. So I think it's more of trying to think of how to word it. More of just like a photo. It's more photo based than Facebook. And like for me, I use them two different ways. Instagram, I use more, I would say like business aspect, like for promotional or for ads or stuff that I get sponsored to post. But for Facebook, it's like out eating with my friends or drinking margaritas with friends. I'll post that more on my stories on Instagram, but for actual posts, they're more focused, I guess. Do like about Instagram is that you do have to notate when something is sponsored by either doing a hashtag ad or you'll have to tag them. So let's say I got sponsored by a company called Full Scale Box. I have the package in my living room, but I haven't opened it yet. But in regards to it, they sent me a package. I just have to take a picture with it, take a picture of what's inside, tag them, make sure I notify everybody that's an ad. Because if you get paid and to post things, but you don't say that it's an ad or that you were sponsored to do it, you can get in a lot of trouble with Instagram.
Yeah.
They'll take down your profile, they'll flag you. So you do have to be very careful with that when you do get sponsored or get stuff sent to you. So.
Yeah, it's just I think it's the same as like YouTube. They do the same exact thing. Like if you get a sponsorship promotion, um, if they don't tell you, then yeah, there's like laws against it. So you have to disclaim that. I think it's based off of the assumption that because you're getting paid for something, your opinion might be biased. So people just need to know that you were paid by them to talk about this instead of just being like, "Oh yeah, this is the greatest product because I personally just love it." You know?
And
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
for me, like if I get sent something or if I have someone that messaged me like, "Hey, can you post this?" Depending on what it is, I'll either say yes or no. Because like I've had companies that do either car detailing or car wash stuff, and they're like, "Hey, can you give us a shout out?" Like, obviously for like a certain amount of money. If I don't believe in it, if I don't say anything, it's not worth it putting my name to something that could be sketchy or could be not necessarily good. Like if I don't believe in something, I'm not going to post about it. So that's why with the box that I have in my living room, I need to open it up. I need to inspect it, make sure that it is something that I want to proceed with. So that way I'm not just like, yeah, everything's the greatest and yeah, I'm getting sponsored, I'm getting paid to say that this is great, but don't waste your money on it. So that's one thing that I've just tried to stay true with my gut about not posting about stuff that I don't believe in.
Yeah.
Good philosophy.
Yeah.
So outside of sponsors,
Mhm.
how does the revenue work on Instagram, or is sponsors the only way you can make money?
So far for me, that's how I've made money on Instagram is by having people send me stuff or they'll send me like I'd say like money through Venmo or whatever my pay preferences, and I'll just post about it. Or I've gotten hats sent to me, T-shirts, stickers. I had a phone case that they actually printed a picture of my car on, and they sent it to me, and so that was kind of cool because I was able to take pictures of it. And there was different times that I would take the picture, like take the phone case and hold it up to the car. So I'd say it's for me. I do probably like half money stuff or half stuff being sent to me. So it just kind of depends on, but for other people, like celebrities and people that have way more followers than I do, you can even do shout out for shout outs and get paid for those. And I'm trying to think of how else, but those are kind of the ways that I've made money off of Instagram.
So can you make money off of like their ad revenue, or is that just directly go into Instagram's pocket as far as you know? Or do you have to get to a certain like level of popularity on and followers on Instagram before they'll actually give you some sort of ad revenue for all the ads that they play? Because I know right now, I'm pretty sure every three pictures you see one ad
An
for every
ad.
three pictures. There's no way to get around it now.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. And that's also like you can go to your settings and you can adjust what you see for your ads. Even if you go through stories, you'll start to see ads. But anything like once you kind of get that blue check mark on Instagram, that's kind of whenever things start going crazy. Sports players will get it, celebrities, people like that will get the check mark. Everybody kind of like me has to work really hard for it. Like I don't have a blue check mark, but that's my goal. That's my next goal is to figure out how to become verified is what the blue check mark means.
Right, right. Yeah, because they have I think they even have that on, like, YouTube. They have, like, that on almost every social media site
Yeah.
now.
To show
The
that you're real. And even
Yeah,
stuff with getting verified, like you do have to show like photo proof, driver's license, passports, a whole number of things to make sure that you're not posing or catfishing as someone else. So
interesting.
yeah.
That's cool too. I didn't really know that you had to
Yeah,
truly prove your
I had to
identity on
get
that
verified
level.
for Twitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I
Huh.
mean, I think it's a good thing so that way you don't have people posing as other people. I mean, catfishing is going to be it. I've actually had people message me because they saw my pictures on dating websites and pictures that people screen grabbed from Instagram. And they sent to me as like, your name's not Melissa, this is Emily. And I'm like, oh, great. Now I have to report people on dating sites. Like, that's not me. Because they'll find me and they'll be like, hey, like, don't you remember me? I'm like, who are you? And they're like, we talked like a month ago. And I'm like, that wasn't me. And my name's not Melissa. My name's Emily. So that's the only, I'd say that's like, obviously there are downsides to everything, but having photos being used for catfishing purposes and then having to tell someone else like, I'm not interested in you, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's and it's like I didn't even
Yeah,
really do anything morally wrong. Just somebody took my picture and decided because I'm good looking or whatever.
yeah,
Let's use it to see if we can get people
yeah.
to yeah, because I've run into that before because I play a lot of internet games, and
Hmm.
it's the same thing on there where there are always people trying to pretend that they have something that you want and they really don't, and
Hmm.
it's scammers, you know.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing on like dating websites. I've back when I used to use Tinder for a little bit, I actually ran into many accounts that were like straight up. I You could just tell they were fake, but there were some that were even better. Like even the information and everything they put into it made it look even more realistic. But you could still tell it was just fake, and it was just like you wonder who the people are and do they even know, yeah, that
Who I
like
am.
they're totally getting their like face used to
Yeah.
get these dudes to like pay money to a weird like site for whatever. It was honestly disturbing the first time I had that happen. I was like, This is just strange." I knew the instant the interaction happened that something was up,
Yeah.
but it was just so weird to like be like, I
Yeah,
don't know, I guess.
the moment they said, "Man, you're so attractive," you knew something was up.
I feel like
Red
there is something
flags.
to that though, for because for guys, you know, I feel in general you're expected to make the first move. So it's very odd when you have someone make the first move on you. Even though I'm not saying I'm opposed to it or anything, but it's just weird. So the instant anytime I get on a site like that and somebody makes the first move and is like, "Hey, how you doing?" It's like,
You're like, ah.
"Who
See,
are you?"
for me, I'm
It's
like, I don't know if I should be flattered that someone's using my photos or at the same time like creeped out like who's on the other end. I know some people are like, I can trace your IP address, like I'll find out. And I'm like, don't really care. I'm like, just report the account and make sure like if it happens again, let me know. But I've had it a couple times where I've popped in my DMs where people are like, did you know someone's using your photos on a dating site? Or I've even had other friends that are on Tinder and they're like, this is you. And like, they'll screenshot the bio and it'll say, car model, or even back when I was a medical assistant, like the tag will be like medical assistant. They had a picture of me in my scrubs, and I was like, that's not me. Like
that's actually disturbing.
I know there's like that fine line, like yay, someone's using my photos, but at the same time, like no, this isn't cool. Like let's get this reported. And then on the other hand of it, whenever I have had to report it, I've had to go in and then show my account where it has my name on it, everything like that, and I'm like this isn't me. So it's part of being on the internet. I know no matter what you do on the internet, it's always going to be there, but it's just kind of a weird situation that I've fallen into a couple times.
I think it's like so easy to now because you know I know they say like you can hide your privacy and all that, and there's all the system settings now like on Facebook and stuff to like hide your profile and all that. But I'm telling you, man, people are smart out there and they have ways to get around what you see, and it's a lot of it is like done just through like botting and like sifting through information. So, and all it takes is one person taking your photo and reposting it or something that doesn't have their privacy in lock, and then somebody else can see it, um, even though they're not supposed to be allowed to or whatever. So,
Yeah.
and I know they say that, oh, well, if you have it locked, that people can't share it. But I mean, you can screenshot anything. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I've done that so many times because I couldn't share a post. So I just like brought the
Screenshot
post
it.
up, screenshot it because it wasn't copyrighted. It wasn't their originality. So
Hmm.
I'm not stealing anything. And I'm like, I want to share this, or I want it because I like what it had to say. Especially like wording, you know, where they just like has like quotes or whatever.
Mhm.
Take pictures, keep them on my phone, and someday when I'm feeling down, I'll just like go read them, like a boost for morale.
Yeah. Hey, so, given the opportunity to start over and do it again, is it something that you would?
Oh yeah. I think now that I've gotten into it a little bit more, there's a lot of things I guess I wish I could have done differently. Maybe staggering post, or I know with doing color coordinating, some of my favorite people that I follow, they have their stuff color coordinated to where it's all basically they use the same filter to where it's all, I guess, less aesthetically pleasing. I guess sometimes I wish I could do that, but also at the same time, like if I would have done that, I might not be where I am now. But if I had a chance to do it again, I definitely would. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's like it's just funny because people always do that in everything you do. It's
Yeah.
just interesting to see like that, like in games they do the same thing. So it's just funny to see that even like in something where you're just posting pictures of yourself or whatever, people still like take it and be like, this is how I'm gonna do it. So like my
Yeah.
creativity is like I'm only gonna have black and white pictures or whatever. This is my restriction to my account, and then like they religiously follow it.
And I think for me, especially over the past year, I think 2 years ago, I was very much like, because with Instagram, some of the cool things you can see are you can see your insights, especially when you're a like public account. So for me, I have it as a like a promotional model, I think is what my tag is under. So I can see insights. I can see how many people have viewed my picture. I can see how many people have shared my picture. I can see obviously how many likes or comments. But the cool thing about it is you can see the timestamp on it. So for a period of time, it would be like 8:17 p.m. on a Tuesday is when I would post, because that's whenever the most amount of people would be online, therefore to get the likes. In the past year, I'd say I've probably just been like, you know what? I don't really care. I'm just going to post at what time I like, what time I want to, and not be so specific. Because I think during that whole year, I'm like, it's 8:18. I don't know if I can post anymore. I don't, like, I might not get the same amount of likes. And I think there was that, like, growth that had to happen to be like, okay, it's not just about likes. Like, posting on Instagram now for me is posting about what I like to do or what I want to do, not just making sure the photo is aesthetically pleasing or it's posted at the right time. It's just posted for me. If I get the likes, I get the likes. If I don't, I'm still happy I posted a picture.
Yeah, I
It's
don't.
Oh,
No, go
Go
ahead. Go
for it,
ahead,
Will.
Pat.
Go for it, Will.
All right. I was gonna say, so I don't use an Instagram. I've never been on Instagram. Um,
mhm,
you guys had mentioned something about the ads, and I guess every third photo there's an ad.
mhm.
Hmm.
Is that only applied for the people that are sponsored, or is that
No,
across the
It's
board
just
regardless?
scrolling on their main
yeah.
page.
Just scrolling through like the Instagram feed, you'll have ads for Glade or for Johnson and Johnson or for like other people that are sponsored. Because one of the cool things you can do is once you are a public figure, you can sponsor your ads. So you can basically pay to have your ad across 300 people, 600 people, you name it, however much you want to pay. So when you see stuff that's sponsored, that shows that that person paid to have it done. I think there was one time that it was after a car show and one of my pictures got engaged like over 40,000 times or something like that. Instagram sent me it, not Instagram, but like there was a thing that I had on my account that was a direct message that said, if you want to sponsor a post, we'll do it for free because of how well my other photo got engaged. So I was like, it's gonna say sponsored, but I'm not paying for it. But I did it anyways, and the next photo that I did got so many more engagements because of it. But at this point, I don't really feel like paying to sponsor. But they did, I guess, kind of reward me for one of my photos doing really well.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was kind of like,
Hmm.
you want me to post another one, and you'll, display it in front of a ton of people, and I don't have to pay for it. Okay. And then I had someone that actually messaged me, one of my friends, and they're like, I saw you on the sponsored page. Did you pay for that? So I actually like screenshot the messages because I was like, here are receipts. I didn't pay for it. I promise.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if it's like they do that just to like see if they can get you like hooked to
Yeah,
like
that's kind of what I thought it was, is that,
spending the money.
yeah, to see like, well, maybe we'll show you how well your photo will do if you sponsor it, then maybe we'll start sponsoring it. But I was like, no, like to me it's just like if I can make money and not spend money, that's what I'm gonna use it for.
Right. Wait. So you're telling me you don't want to waste money?
Actually smart.
I waste money all the time.
I know I
I
do
don't.
too. Like,
America, we're not very financially smart the majority of the time. So, you know, I feel like this is totally against cultural, and you guys need to stop right now. You blow all your money right now.
blow it all.
Yeah. William wants a new car. We're all going to sponsor him because we love him, and we're just going to, drain our bank accounts for our boy.
Thanks, guys.
You down?
Speaking of cars, have y'all seen the teaser for the new Nissan?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so Nissan put out a teaser. Apparently, it's going to be called the 400Z. I think it's going to be a 2021 car. I don't know how I feel about it. If y'all Google it, there's a screen cap of a video, and it's basically a black and white picture of a car. I don't know if y'all can find it or not.
I think I had seen that photo. While you guys are looking that up, I guess real quick before we move on, the default ads that are displayed.
Super in concept.
Do y'all get paid for those, or do you only get paid whenever you promote products? Like
So
the default ads that display, whether it's Glade
Mhm,
or Old Spice, the every third photo ad.
mhm.
Is there a portion of that goes to you or
No.
the
So
website?
so the way that works is when Glade or let's say Johnson and Johnson or whoever the company is sponsors something, they're going to pay Instagram to have that. The way that I'll receive money is if I start posting stuff on my own personal page.
Okay.
So if I start like let's say I don't know, let's say like Sugar Bear Hair, if they contacted me and said, "Hey, we want you to post our products on your page. This is how much we'll pay for it in return." That's whenever I would receive the money. But for having just regular ads on Instagram, it's those companies are reaching out, paying Instagram for that. So no, I won't receive any of that unless I actually post something personal on my page.
I got you. Seth, do you have a photo of that concept car?
Not
It's like
really. I
it's
mean,
super.
there's like, there's a lot of different views.
It's like grayed out.
One looks identical to the Supra. One looks like it's
That
a
might be it.
Ferrari. Another one looks. Oh, we'll pull this one up because this one looks the most
See
real.
which one it is.
Yeah, this one looks like the most real for a concept, but I'll pop it right there. You guys won't be able to actually see it because I didn't do a capture, but it so it's all over the place. So it's definitely still in concept.
Hmm The one that
So
I saw
who knows what the
said
end product could look like.
Yeah, the one that I saw was like breaking new Nissan Z sports car officially tested in video, and then it had been 12 years since the launch of the 370Z. So I'm curious to see like what it actually comes out looking like, because concept cars don't always end up looking like what they're supposed to, or
Yeah.
Yeah,
sometimes
because
they don't even
the
come out.
370 debuted in 09, right?
I think so. Yeah, it had been 12 years, so
Maybe
we'll
12 years
see.
next year, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what
That's
this will look.
dude, that car was so popular when it first came out. Oh my god, everybody had a 350 and 370Z.
The 350 is so much better than
Yeah.
370 in my opinion.
You think so? Why?
I don't like the lines on the 370. The
See, I don't like
windows
the
are
lines of the
super
350.
angular while the car is trying to be curved. Like they just contrast. And
Okay.
then both of them have horrible vision, but the 370 has worse blind spots. So
Oh.
it's just,
Yeah, isn't the back window smaller than the 370?
yeah.
Mhm.
But you know what?
Your only
You
view
don't need to
back
worry about
really is
blind
through your
spots when you're
mirrors.
leaving everybody behind in the dust.
It's not a
You
fast
know
car,
what I'm
dude.
saying?
Not a fast car.
It's fast enough.
It's fast enough to beat your average Taurus.
Oh God.
that's
Shots are
hey,
fired, guys.
remember those three? Was it 350 or 370 at those car meets when we'd go to Arlington? Back when the Highlands wasn't it in the Highlands? It
I
was,
mean, I went to race events at the Highlands.
and they would race on the highway with it.
Yeah.
There was
I don't remember running it.
there was a 350Z that was like whatever he had done inside of it obviously was not the original car in any way, shape, or form. And then there was was it Chevy Cobalt or
Oh yeah,
like,
there was a
God.
Cobalt SS.
and those
That
two would like
there
try
were
and
there
race
were
each
4
other
cars
all
there
the
that
time.
could actually run. One was mine. And then we had a Cobalt SS. We had a GTI GLI. No, it was a Jetta GLI. and then a 350Z. Yeah, but all of us were custom turbo. Like it was nothing stock about us.
Yeah,
But then everyone else was just like, "Oh, look at my D series. It's so fast."
Yeah,
Hey,
the
now.
Cobalt SS. If you had the turbocharged version, that car was pretty fast for the price.
Yeah, it wasn't bad for the price, and the interior was actually pretty nice, but it was still a Chevy trying to get into the import world.
Hey,
Yeah,
now.
Chevy never had good interiors until the
Because they want it to
like
be
the 611
different.
Corvette.
Okay,
Hey, I
everybody
mean,
has a
I'm
Camry
all
and
for
switched it
trying
up.
something new,
Okay.
but if it fails, you stop, and they stop. So
Okay. Emily, favorite car?
Gosh. Okay, so my favorite car, I would have to say, would be the Ford GT. Simply because of the story behind it, and then of course they came out with the Ford versus Ferrari movie. But when I first heard that story many years ago about how the controversy and how basically it was a screw you car, I just thought that was the greatest thing, and I love the looks of them. If I had a choice to own any car, it would be a Ford GT for sure.
Okay, because
Yeah,
we already kind of talked about this I think
I
twice
know.
now. But
Yeah,
I know because did we even really say this? I don't know if we even went over this, but I mean, part of why you got into Instagram was because of car shows and car meets and going up there, and you had your own little souped up, nice looking car, which you still have, right?
yeah. That's
Yeah.
kind of, I guess, the biggest part of my Instagram, I would say, career would be the car shows, and that's kind of where all the followers came from. Is a lot of people in the car world. It started by a fluke with me car modeling, just kind of standing in front of a car, and someone took a picture, and then all of a sudden that picture started like circulating, and people were like, "Is that you?" And I was like, "Yeah, that is me." And so then since then I started kind of getting invites for car shows or to work car shows. So I've had the ability to work car shows here. I've worked one in Tennessee, a lot of places in Austin, Houston, with a lot of different companies, and working in Dallas too, in Fort Worth. But that's kind of like the main thing. But I think the coolest car I've shot with is going to be one of, I don't know what type of McLaren it was, but it was a McLaren, and I actually got to drive around in that thing. I didn't get it over like 20 miles per hour just because I was shaking. But it was kind of cool, and
Hey.
they were just like, you can just like, mess around in it. And so one of my friends was the one driving it, so we'd take it up and down the street, and he just went on it, and I was just like, taken back. But actually getting to sit in the driver's seat of it and driving it around, he's like, you can put your foot on the gas. I was like, no, because if something happens, like I'm not gonna be responsible. But
And not that we were going to bring this up, but now that you brought it up, you do have a storied past with accidents and cars. So I could understand the scared of like being in a car that's worth $200,000-$300,000 or maybe even more than that. And
to my point, for all the listeners out there, I was never responsible for any of those crashes.
that's the story that is told.
That
that's
is the story. That's the story. The first one, I wasn't even in my car. Some eighth
Mhm.
graders
I'll give
stole
you
a
that one.
car
I'll give you that one.
and they hit my parked car. The second time, a truck hit a Kia Soul, and the Kia Soul knocked me off the highway. And then the third one, someone ran a red light. So
So basically what you're saying is it's actually worse. You've been cursed with extremely unlucky car
yeah,
circumstances,
car
like
circumstances.
an unfortunate series of car events for you,
Yeah, yeah.
and we don't know if it's done yet. So you should be very careful because
Well,
just saying.
I know. Probably it was 3 years after the car accident, the last car accident, I had got into a bike accident, but that was actually my fault. I didn't know how to drive a bike, and so I crashed it, and I tore a couple
Fair.
tendons in my legs. So that's the only thing I will admit to.
Like
That
a
was my fault.
motorcycle or a bicycle?
It was.
It was a
Uh,
it was a six
She's
speed.
so
Or
toxic
was it a
sometimes.
scooter? Was it a scooter?
It was a dirt bike. It was a
Those are
dirt
the
bike.
worst. Super dangerous. Don't get on them.
Yeah, don't get on them. It was actually for a photo shoot. Funny enough, I was taking pictures with it. Someone was just like, "Hey, do you want to take pictures with my dirt bike?" And I was like, "Yeah, sounds fun." So I did. And then afterwards, I was like, "Do you want to drive it?" And I was like, "Well, this can't be too hard." So I did.
Spoken like a
They did
true
not.
person who's never ridden one.
So I did, I guess, what they
Like,
call
9 out of
whiskey.
10 people I see on their first one end up on their back because
Yeah.
they
So
just twist
yeah,
that handle.
that's exactly what I did. I did what they call, I guess, whiskey throttle it. I just
Mhm.
put all the power to it, and I hit a phone line, and I
Oh,
fell off of it. So like the bike kept going, but I hit the
yeah.
phone line and I fell off of it. So then the bike was on top of me, and so I had like
Nice.
3rd-degree burns. I tore a couple tendons in my legs. I couldn't walk for 3 months. Like, yeah, I won't even look at a bike now. But
He was like, I'm done.
yeah,
I'm done with this. I will not do this anymore.
yeah, it was like one of those things that like even after it happened, I had to call my mom because I was on my way to the hospital. And I was like, I'm heading to the hospital, and she's like, "What happened?" I'm like, "I fell off a bike," and she was like, a bike? And I was like, yeah. And then I was like, it's a dirt bike. And she was like, oh, okay. But yeah, it was really, I think at the time, I guess once like people started figuring out I was in the hospital because I was in there for about 3 or 4 days, I started having a lot of friends come in, and people started bringing me toy dirt bikes as gifts. So in my room, I have a whole like shelf full of like little handheld toy dirt bikes because everybody thought it'd be funny to bring that to me instead of like flowers or stuffed animals. They brought me fake dirt bikes.
You know, that's some very troll-like friends right there.
Yeah.
They say, friends are friends, but it sounds like there's some enemies there amongst them. Because they're
Yeah.
throwing you under the bus hardcore, making fun of you. Because I mean, the first time I ever rode on a dirt bike, same thing happened, except I didn't whiskey throttle right away, but I'm stupid and overconfident because yeah,
Yep.
I'm like, dude, I got this, man. I get on there, I'm riding around, I'm like, yeah, this is easy, like totally, I got it, guys. And then one of my friends was like, look it, I can do a wheelie, and I'm like, oh, dude, I'm gonna try a wheelie too. And then I like pick it up, and I do the wheelie, but then like I'm like, come back down, bike, and it wouldn't, and then I kind of like panicked, so I'm just like holding the throttle down, and eventually it gets to the point where I just like fell off the back, and
Oh
then I like
God.
ran the bike into a fence, and I ended up being fine. I just scraped up my ankle a little bit, so I really avoided major, and the bike didn't get broken because it's a dirt bike. It's
Yeah.
just
Bit
getting
tough.
bumped around.
I
But I
think
was
like
like, never again.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean for me it's like you said, like I know how to ride a bicycle. Once you ride a bicycle, you don't ever forget. I guess that's my mindset into being like, I can drive this. I
Yeah.
cannot drive it.
And
Spoken like a
now,
true person who doesn't own 2 wheels.
we I think me and Seth, will never got a motorcycle
No.
license. But me and Seth, we have motorcycle license, and I owned a bike for like almost 2 years, and Seth has one now and has owned one previously. Once you get used to like street bikes like street motorcycles are a lot different than dirt bikes, because the thing with dirt bikes is the torque is just insane. Like the get up and go. So if you accidentally throttle it, like you have to get on a very powerful street bike to get the same feeling where like if you barely touch the throttle, you're just gonna like literally fly.
It's also
Like
it's not necessarily a torque thing because most motorcycles, I mean dirt bikes, are going to be 250 to 500 cc's, but it's a power to weight ratio. Dirt bikes are hell of a lot lighter,
yeah.
Yeah.
and
It's
so
just it
those front ends have nothing on them, so they come up super easy.
Oh, the other thing I have in my room is I actually have the front shield of the bike. Since it cracked, the guy actually gave it to me because he's like, I have to buy a new one. So if you want this, and I think he even like signed it or something like that. So I have all
He's
this.
like, thanks for the pictures.
I know. Even like afterwards, everyone was like, "Are you actually gonna post those pictures?" And I was like, "I mean, yeah, I guess I will." But yeah, that's one thing that I won't do again. So yeah,
No, conquer your fears. Just be
just do
careful
it.
about it. Yeah, that's what I
I
would
mean, I
say.
have multiple accidents under me, and I'm still riding. I'll be on it early tomorrow morning.
But
Oh
it
my god.
definitely does give you a little bit of anxiety after you have that first one where you actually get hurt some.
Yeah.
from then on, there's always a little inkling of anxiety somewhere deep down inside of you that, like, when
Yeah,
you're
I
taking curves
mean,
really fast, or you're like, what if I just slide out or
right? Yeah,
whatever.
I bought my current motorcycle in October, September, and I put it on the highway for the first time last week, just because I have poor memories on the highway, and so I had to actually mentally prepare myself and then do it. But like when I was on my way to my location, I was going like speed limit, just like not. I was just staying where I was. I was just doing things. On my way back, I was like, I'm like, okay,
I get it.
we back.
You know,
I'll still go in the speed limit, right?
Yeah, of course. Everyone else was just going slow.
Yeah.
see, this is what I would say to counterpoint Seth's earlier thing about Harleys are so loud. You know, at least Harley drivers actually semi-respect the law, though. Because I have never met a Harley driver that on the same
Leaving.
level of danger has ever tried half the stuff that I've
you-
done with any of the people that I've known or watched on a sport bike.
Do you
Like,
know why
they do
though?
some
Do you know
actual
why? Because they're not safe to do
mentally
those
ill.
things. They're not balanced well. They got little baby tires.
True, but going 160 miles and like cutting in between cars and stuff. It's like,
160.
y'all,
He just meant
y'all,
60.
y'all
No
are
breaking of the
wild.
law.
Wild.
Straight wild. You're savages, and you need to go to the doctor and get checked out because you're gonna die eventually.
They
Like,
kicked me out.
Oh my gosh.
it's hard for me to do that stuff because I like use my brain and I always think about what happens that one time when I'm doing that the person just lane changes because they're lane changing and they never see you because you're going so
You.
You
fast
just
they
have to
don't see you
trust.
and you're
You have
just
to trust
dead.
your reactions, man.
You know,
Yeah.
like there's. I'm not even gonna lie. I've actually cut through between cars before, but
I mean, I've had it
hey,
happen.
and that was on a Harley, so
Yeah.
you can do it. It's just not as people give you real weird looks when you fly by them and you're loud as hell. So you're like,
I imagine, yeah.
and then, yeah. But it fits my personality, I think. You know,
I can see
Harley,
that.
yeah. I'm not a little, you know,
Yeah, I don't.
rah, you know.
I don't trust myself with a bike.
Yeah,
That is,
you probably are smart not to.
I do not have the self control.
It's addicting.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I drive the car I currently drive. Because it gets me to the speed limit as quickly as I need it to be. And I don't think if I had much more power than that, that I would not abuse it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like it would be too much of a impulse to want to do things on a bike that are not necessarily legal.
Oh, it definitely is because Seth's allowed me to drive his bike, and I've driven other people's bikes, like the little sport crotch rockets, you know. And every single time I've gotten on them, it is like straight within like 5 minutes of driving. I'm like, all right, let's go 100 and something miles an hour. Let's do it, you know. And then I'm like, what am I doing?
It's just whenever you
I don't
can
know.
be cruising at 40 and then twist your wrist barely and you're all of a sudden going 80. Like it's addicting.
It's an intoxicating
I would
feeling.
enjoy the speed factor of it because, like, driving fast cars or being in fast cars, I enjoy that.
Yeah, it's
But
the adrenaline.
so I will have to say though that with certain cars, I do get the speed factor. Like one of my friends has a super modded GTR, and so we took it on the highway one day, and he was just like, "Just buckle up, just we'll be there." And the second he took off, my heart just kind of dropped, like I was in the roller coaster. Like once you're right at the spot and you go down, that's what it felt like, and I was just like a little kid, like again, 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 because it was just so like I don't know, and I haven't got that feeling in any other car. I don't know if it was just because of how fast we were going. I think it was like 190, but I mean, it's just I have a need for speed, I guess.
Yeah. So one of the most fun I've had in a car, I wouldn't say it was probably the nicest car I've been in. Was nice, but most fun I've ever had was in a can't remember the year on it, but it was an ACR Viper. And so I was about to leave Texas to move here, and so it was the son and and a dad. They were regulars at my store. They came in 4 or 5 times a day, usually in a different car because the dad had a warehouse of cars. and it was usually in a different car. I mean, there were like old school like Beetles, or even he owned a Cobra, the old style Cobra. Um, he had the ACR. He had, he bought a brand new Hellcat. Like, I mean, just an insane amount of cars. Um, but he'd always bring them up, and he's like, his son goes, like, he came up whenever I was about to leave. He's like, I've never taken you for a ride in any of these, or let you drive any of my cars, have I? I'm like, no, but we are always talking about him. He's like, all right, when do you get off? I told him. He's like, all right, I'm gonna come up here with the Hellcat. We're gonna take it out, and then I'm gonna come, and then we'll go get the Viper, and we'll do that too. And so the Viper was insanely fun. We just stopped on the highway, 287, outside of Mansfield, so like it's open and straight. We stopped on the highway. We did a 0 to 100 to a 0, and I was like, it was intense. It was fast, but it was also just really fun because I've never done, like, I mean, I've driven cars fast, doing stupid stuff, crazy corners, that kind of stuff, but never just like stopped and been like, all right, we're gonna punch it, get to 100, and then get back to 0 as fast as possible, and it was quite fun.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know how to describe it, but I swear that if you're the person that is in the passenger seat and you're riding with somebody and they're just going, balls to the wall, ridiculous, you're just like, what are you doing? That is probably some of the greatest adrenaline rushes I've ever had, because it's like you have no control. So you're riding with them, and they're like, you can't just be like, listen, dude, just can we think about this? It's like they're just doing it and you have no control, and you just sit there and you're just like holding on for dear life, and like please God, I want to make it out of this.
I want to get out of this car in one piece.
No, and then afterwards you're like,
Yeah.
I feel pretty good about that, like I almost died, but had no control. But yeah, I mean, this dude right here has almost, I have been in the car with him as a passenger a multitude of times, especially when we were younger, from like 18 to like 21 or 22. And oh my God,
coming back from the TAFA showcase, you were with me on that, right? Whenever I used the, none of this actually happens, all figuratively, but whenever I use the shoulder on the highway going 120 to get around a semi, and the wind draft kind of was more than I was expecting. I kept control.
I'm pretty sure we were on two. Like, I'm almost positive.
I mean, the car. I mean, it felt like it went sideways, but I mean, it definitely like while I'm going on a highway exchange, and yeah, it was.
Because where it was right where, is it 187 and 20 or?
But 820-20 split.
820, the 820-20 split. And it's like that big curve, and this dude is going like 120 miles through the curve, and he's swerving through traffic too. I will never forget this to this day. I'm like, oh my God, I really thought for a little bit there that we might actually like get in a serious wreck, because it was like,
I actually spent 2 months without racing after that, because somebody made me promise to calm down for a minute. And so I spent 2 months. I didn't race anybody. I didn't even do anything stupid. The worst 2 months of my life. But
one more thing that I will add on for the car stuff with Patrick, what you're saying, is that I've gone to a drift event before. I went last August, and that was probably one of the most funs that I've had in a car, is just being a passenger with someone that can drift, and not just like, drift like, it's fun, but like seriously, like cars that are made for drifting with the diff weld or whatever they call it, and with the huge e-brakes, and it's just like being a passenger in that, like I had the most adrenaline probably I've ever had. I just thought of that, but going around those corners and seeing when I was telling everyone about it, I was like, the way that I was describing it was so beautiful to see the cars in tandem, just like going like this, just so perfectly. And we'd get out there, we'd do the round by ourselves, and then we'd add the second car, and they'd be behind us, so we were the lead car. And then getting 3 cars in there, 4 cars in there, and just to look back around and to see all these cars in perfect motion, and the fact that I could reach my hand out and touch the car that was next to me, that's how close. But safely, but obviously with drifting, accidents do happen and the cars can get a little bit dinged up, and but just having that going around a corner and just pulling the
Yeah.
e-brake and slamming across, like that was an experience for sure.
Yeah,
Definitely something that I want to
drifting's
do
a
again.
blast. It's been I've gotten to work on quite a few drift cars with I'm not gonna throw their name out here, but with a garage that I used to use to work on my cars. He also did multiple Lone Star Drift people's
Yeah.
cars, and so I worked on them. But
That's-
also, and that's just fun. And so I've been to many events and ridden on them. It's super fun. But
Yeah.
also, you guys know, well, at least you all might know, but at least Emily and Patrick, Alex Margesso.
Yeah, that's who one of the guys I was with.
Okay, yeah. I mean, he actually had an error the other day. I saw a video of it. Ruined his car. Not
Yeah.
ruined, but it's gonna be down for a minute.
Yeah, they
Because he
have.
was drifting or what?
Yeah. He's got
Yeah.
he's got a nice car he's built.
Yeah,
Tokyo Drift, baby.
There's a place in Dallas that they do. It's like a secret warehouse. So they'll go out there and do all the prep runs for it. And then they did the Lone Star Drift. I think it was round 4 or something this weekend. But it was kind of funny. The one I went to, it was at a Houston police training center. And I was like, because it was a safe course for them to do it on. And so it was like, we're doing all these like drifting illegal stuff out here at a police course. But it's crazy to see how well these drivers are, and the fact that you can't be focused on what's behind you. You only have to be focused on who's in front of you. Otherwise, that's how accidents happen. But yeah, it's kind of sad whenever the cars get beat up. And I think one of the first rounds that we went on was with one of my friends in his Z. We got on the we caught on the one of the trails of it, and we kind of tugged a little bit, and we're like, oh, okay, cool. Well, we're going back around the second time, and he's like, there's my bumper, and I'm like, oh, we lost your bumper. Quick releases. We're like, oh yeah, there's your bumper.
And
Yeah,
you don't
yeah.
even hear it either.
No,
Like
you don't even. We just kind of felt the tug in the grass, and we're just kind of like, well, okay, And he's like, it's okay, it's just pulling a little bit. It's just the first round. So then we go back around, and he's like, there's my bumper. And so then someone went out there with like a little. It was one of the newer Miatas, and they just picked up the bumper, and they were carrying it on top of the car just to get it off of the track. But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, as a law-abiding citizen over here, the way I
my
get my adrenaline is I go to amusement parks like Six Flags, and I ride the roller coasters
That's not
there.
even real adrenaline. You
Yeah.
haven't tried real adrenaline.
The best way to get adrenaline at Six Flags, you close your eyes when you're on the roller coasters that are going up, and then that way you don't know when they drop.
Oh,
No, no.
You feel
you're crazy, dude. Get out. Get on the Titan and then sit there
Yeah.
for like 5 minutes while it takes you to the top with your eyes closed. That would actually be a good idea.
It
I'm gonna have
is,
to
yeah.
try that next time.
You know what I used to do when I would
Word.
ride roller coasters? It's so dangerous, but I used to kind of like put my legs up kind of high so that way when the bar would go down, it would hit my legs, and then I'd lower my legs so that way there'd be like just that extra like.
You
Yeah.
are
But then once the lady kind of fell out of the roller coaster, I stopped doing that because I realized how dangerous.
you're insane. I just want you to know that. You're actually insane. No, I do not condone this behavior.
Well, yeah, I
Please.
realized how dangerous it was, so I don't do that anymore.
Like I always wanted to be securely in my seats because I was like, I am not riding on the Batman, and it's like a little bit of give and take over here, and I'm
Yeah.
like, guys, you need to push this down another
Like, can
notch.
it get any closer?
Yeah, no lie though, that's probably the best ride they have there.
The Batman. Yeah.
On homeschool day only.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, facts. But now it's actually pretty busy on homeschool days, so it's not even like that great. But when it first started, man, ooh, the one day I went, I rode the Texas Giant 9 times in a row, the Titan 6 times in a row, and the Batman 2 times, and then 7 times in a row.
Is it
Like, one
because
day.
the people
And
that were
then
there didn't
Runaway Mountain like 6 times, and I was literally having no joke. I was blacking out almost on every single roller coaster by the end.
I rode the Mr. Freeze with the band Skillet.
Oh, nice.
No, you did not.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I believe that.
And were they like, yeah, or what?
Oh, they were just normal people like
No!
everyone else is.
Hey Pat, you had mentioned that you got to ride so many rides in quick succession. Is it because the people that were there didn't go on the rides, or there was just not that many people there to fill the lines?
It was just they there was a decent amount of people there, but there wasn't enough people to fill the whole park out, like where it's like maxed out. So, I mean, like with the Texas Giant, that one we rode. I think it might have been 10 times in a row. I think it was only 9 times in a row. This is the one that the person died on
Yeah,
before they fixed
the
it.
original.
Yeah.
OG.
And me and my friends, because there was no line and everybody wanted to get on like the Titan and stuff and other rides, while it was busy at those other rides, we just went to the Texas Giant and rode it 9 times in a row. Then after we got off the Giant, it's right next to the Titan, so we went to the Titan and we were able to basically just hop where we only had to stand in line for like 5-10 minutes at a time, and we rode that 6 times in a row, and then we went to the Batman. So, and we went to the Runaway Mountain and the I forget what the other one's called, but then we went to Batman and we finished on Batman. But when I got to Batman, no joke, when you go through those loops, I'd never black out like that. I was almost blacking out every single time we'd go through the loops, and then I'd come back because like I guess my brain just couldn't handle that amount of G's anymore. I don't know.
When you were riding the rides multiple times in a row, were you able to stay seated, or did they make you actually get out, get back in line, and then immediately reseat you back on the coaster?
The Texas Giant, I think we rode 5 times in a row without even having to get out of our seats. But then
Nice.
there was a line, and so they would like kick us out, and we would just walk through the back and like have to wait for one rotation and go back in because there was like literally no line. But occasionally there'd be like a group of people that come in, and then we'd be like, it's fine, we'll get off. Well, we'll get off. We'll be right back, and just circle back around.
I just like
Yeah.
the fact that Skillet was out there at homeschool day. Like, if that's not like.
Hey, I think it was a great thing that Six Flags does. Does it still do it? I don't even know. I'm kind of like
I don't
Well,
lost
for
I haven't
track.
been
7
Six
years,
Flags in forever.
so.
Well,
Yeah.
Six Flags even open right now?
Probably. Well, I don't know.
With-
Universal reopened.
Yeah, they are. You do have to have reservations. You have to wear a mask, and they are doing temperature checks. But I did see that they
How
are
do you wear a
going to open
mask when you go on a roller coaster? Isn't it just going to get?
It kind of goes over your face. Most of them
And then
hooks
you
your
have like
ear.
these nice secure
then-
strings that tie around your ears, so it should stay on your face, actually.
Yeah,
And-
that's just what
and-
I saw. I'm not 100% sure though.
Okay, I'm sorry. That was being mean, Will.
Yeah.
We
No.
love you,
Hey, quick story because I know we're wrapping. Emily and I had actually gone to Six Flags years ago with some friends, probably 15 years ago, maybe, and it had rained, and this is one of those 100-year flood rains, and they closed every ride except for it's not Space Mountain, but it's Six Flags' version of Space Mountain.
Runaway
What's
Mountain.
it?
Thunder
Maybe it's
Mountain?
Thunder Mountain, Runaway Mountain, whatever it is. It's the enclosed roller coaster that's
Runaway.
inside
Yeah.
a dome.
Yeah, it's
And
Runaway Mountain.
that was the only ride that was still open, and 95% of the crowd had left. And so we would ride the ride, get back in line immediately, and then ride the ride again. But if I'm not mistaken, the way the ride ends is I don't think it actually ends where it begins. So you've got to get out, walk around the building in the rain, get back in line. Thankfully, the majority of the line is actually enclosed. But yeah, I distinctly remember that we went through Mexico because in Six Flags Over Texas, you've got different like countries,
Yeah.
and Mexico is flooded. So just a heads up for all those listening and watching. If you happen to be at Six Flags when it rains, I do not recommend going through Mexico because it floods.
They actually had to carry me out because of how high when we finally did decide to leave, how high the water was. They had to physically lift me and carry me out because I was so small to where I couldn't walk on my own. Like, that was that much
What?
water.
What?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
how are you allowed to even still be in the park riding rides when it's like that much water?
I think at that point, they actually were just like, okay, everything's going to be closed now. So as we were making our way out, it just
Oh, okay.
poured. Yeah, it was like on the way out, and I remember like having my hands above my head, just like literally being carried out of the park because it was too much water, and they were gonna lose me. So
We had season passes to Six Flags for 2 summers, and we would literally go there for like 4 hours on the weekends and just like ride some rides and then leave. And that was, I think, my best experience of Six Flags, because instead of you being like, I have to get all this stuff done in one day, and if the lines are bad, I'm just going to stand in line all day. You were like, screw it. That's not a good ride to ride. A good ride to ride today. So we're going to go get on something else. And then we'd be like, we'll just catch it next weekend. And we went on like the water rides like so many times. The rapid rivers or whatever it's called. Where
Nope.
it puts the tubes. Yes, so fun.
Uh-uh.
So
No.
good. We would come dressed in our bathing suits, and we would just go out there and ride that thing. And it was and I always went with my all my family. That was basically with it was a good family bonding. Like, we had a lot of fun as a family. And now it's like we never seen each other anymore, so it's kind of sad.
Yeah, with the current ticket prices of Six Flags, it's almost cheaper if you get a season pass. Obviously, if you go with other people, but the prices of single day tickets have gone up exponentially.
Like, how much is it now? Like $50-$60 or what?
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
like 60 for a day.
60
And
for a day.
Yeah, it's either 80 or 90 if you go with, I think, like a minimum of 4 for a season ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So.
crazy. Why would people not get a season pass then?
No idea.
Maybe because they don't live in the area.
That's true. Just
True. So
visiting.
they're capitalizing on people that are tourists.
Yeah.
That's actually smart of them. I would do that.
How the
as a
world
business.
works.
Yep.
That is.
And all the locals, we know we're just gonna get a season pass and like pay like $5 to come into this park every day for the next 8
Yeah.
weeks.
Yep.
But
Worth it.
you're paying our entire season pass for one day of standing in the hot Texas sun, not next to a mister, and regretting your life decisions.
Yeah, just like you were binge watching Black Mirror.
Like, I remember sitting in line one time for like an hour and 20 minutes to ride the Superman. If you guys don't know, the Superman is a ride that literally is like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And it was like, why did I do this? It was awful. Awful experience. 10 for 10 would not do it again. I could. I've ridden the ride one time. Never again will I do this.
Yeah. Well, I think that's going to be it for today's episode. I just want to go ahead and say a special thanks for being on today, Emily. We appreciated having you on and interacting with us. So thank you for that.
Thank you guys so much for having me. It's been
good
fun.
to have you. And real quick, here's a shout out to her Instagram.
Yeah.
It'll be on the screen
give her a
somewhere.
It's right in the middle.
You want to give like a little spiel?
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you guys again so much for having me. It's been a lot of fun. I really enjoy listening to all your videos. One of the things that I will do is I will give a shout out on my Instagram page, and if you like the video, I'll give you another shout out on my page. So I want to get this video to at least 100 likes. That's going to be my goal. So
there we go. You heard it here first, guys.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, so you can
what if we get 101 likes?
Well, if you send me a direct message saying that you like this video and subscribed, I will give you a shout out on my page, on my Instagram stories. So,
damn, all right.
I'm
gonna give myself a shout out.
Yeah, I love giving shout outs, and especially want to get this podcast popping. So we will.
A popping podcast.
A popping podcast.
Always been my dream.
Yeah, Pat plays.
Pat plays.
No, but you can find
do I need to shout that link
the
out?
information to all of her social medias. It's gonna be down at the bottom in the description, right below that like button.
Totally check her out and her cars that she models with, and you can like both things as they're both eye appealing. And happy.
Maybe Patrick will get into car modeling. Who knows?
Yeah, and I've thought about it, but
I'm still waiting for that TikTok that he should have created.
Yep.
TikTok?
Still waiting. One day. That's a throwback. All right, guys, that's going to be episode 11. Thank you, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Peace.
Yeah, have a good one.